Everyone on Not a Straight Line Live, this is your Act 1 beginner's call. Beginners to the stage, please. Act 1 beginners.
Oh wow, dear listener, what a change a day can make. So how I feel this morning is like I'm a different person to the one I was yesterday. Yesterday's episode, I shared that I was a little bit low, and just in the interest of complete openness and transparency and vulnerability, how I felt during the flow state hypno breathwork is that there's one point of it where you the question in the visualization, meditation, whatever, is what's one thing that your subconscious is telling you to do to get you what you want. And the thing that immediately came up to me is, and this, I'm not going to don't think I'm being melodramatic here, is take your life, commit suicide. Now, that's never going to happen. Just want you to know that. But that's just to give you an idea of where I was yesterday. Just a sense of desperation is not the right word. Lost isn't the right word either, because I'm moving forward and with a sense of purpose and direction. Just my mind, I guess, was getting in the way of me, and I think that's probably why there was such a big release of energy and tears at the end of that. A sense of kind of soothing myself that it is okay and it's going to be okay. That's the nature of the non-straight line life. It's okay now and it'll be okay in the future. And it's in that vein, really, that I want to talk about what happened in this morning's hypno breathwork. And I do the same session every morning. It took me a while to find the one that kind of really resonated with me. It's called Flow State. It's by Coreen Phelps. I've already told you about her. Go and check out her website. Highly recommended. And I do it every morning. So what I do every morning is I do a tapping session, EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique tapping session with Brad. His YouTube channel is Tap with Brad. Again, I do the same one. And then I do the Flow State hypno breathwork with Coreen. And then I do 10 or 15 minutes yoga. And I don't know if I mentioned it in my non-negotiables the other day, but that's one of my non-negotiables as well, is yoga every day. So what came up for me this morning in the hypno breathwork, very, very different to yesterday, is that this, and I guess at some level, it's kind of what I had in mind for these daily episodes, is that the best time for me to record these daily episodes is after my hypno breathwork, where I have tapped into my subconscious and I'm it's kind of like a record. These daily episodes are a record of my subconscious telling me, or life telling me, just to borrow from the surrender experience, telling me what I should do next. And Coreen Phelps talks about intuitive action stacked on top of intuitive action. And I think if all that these daily episodes are a record for myself, so purely from a selfish perspective of what those ideas, those thoughts, those intuitive actions are that are coming up, then that'd be a really fun experiment to do. And it also means that in a year's time, when my life is I was going to say hopefully very different. My life will is almost certain to be different this time next year than it is now. I mean, that's just the inevitability of life, isn't it? So in a year's time, with where I'm at and who I'm with and who I am and what I'm doing, I can look back on 365 episodes of Not a Straight Line, and it's my journal, it's my record. And if you, dear listener, get something from any of the episodes, any of my intuitive actions spark ideas for you, then that's great. But I also want to share my joy as well, and who better than to share it with than you? You're not the only person I share it with, I hasten to add, but really happy to do that. So one of the things that did come up for me yesterday morning in flow state was to invite Michael Singer, the author of The Surrender Experiment, onto the Not a Straight Line podcast. And I put it into my reminders. And this morning I did that. I woke up stupidly early, got up for a wee, and then couldn't get back off. Such is the excuse me, such is the what's the word? I don't know. Excitement, joy of being 56 years old. Anyway, so I read for a little bit, reading Autobiography of a Yogi on the back of reading The Surrender Experiment. That was a book that Mickey Singer read very early on in his spiritual path. So I got hold of that. So I'm reading that on my Kindle at the moment. And I also fired off an invitation to Mickey Singer. Went to the Temple of the Universe website, found the contact form, and just wrote something. And we'll see what comes back. So there's a couple of other things. One of them was on the back of that invitation to Mickey is to get back in touch with Ed Dale, who I mentioned recently. He was the one that first mentioned the Surrender Experiment. He mentioned it on his Not a Straight Line podcast episode. So I'm going to get back in touch with him and tell him that I've invited Mickey onto the podcast. And I've also had a prompt come to me to get in touch, get back. I'm in very regular contact with this guy, Daniel Bussius. He's my co-host on the Built by Love podcast. And we're mainly him, but on the back of the Built by Love podcast, we're launching a community called Rise. And he has the kind of placeholder name for it. The name that he first came up for it was the Rise Tribe. And there's just something about that hasn't been sitting, 100% right with me. Not right or wrong, but do you know what I mean? It's just like when something doesn't completely click. And I wonder whether it should just be called Rise. So I'm going to message Daniel and suggest that, encourage him just to sit with it and talk to his wife and other trusted people about it, because my sense is that it's going to be big, and it'll be a big part of my journey going forward, and that in itself, the fact that I'm at that position of influence, if you like, certainly involvement in a community which by all rights I have no right to join, and I say that quite literally, because to get into the community, you have to have a business that is doing over $1 million in revenue. You have to have a certain level of net worth. That it's a. I don't like the connotation of high and low level. That gives you an idea of the kind of people in there. I mean, there are certain aspects of the ideal member of the community that I do fit, driven by purpose, a sense in a higher dimension, whether you call it God, universe or whatever, but just a sense that there is something much bigger than ourselves. So in that sense, from a values perspective, I absolutely fit. So yeah, the very fact that I'm now in a position where Daniel is asking me, have I missed anything about the soft launch of this, and I'm involved. I'm with the founder of the community. I'm there right at the very beginning, and that happened because I did an intuitive action back at the beginning of last year. So if you've listened to the first 5 episodes of the podcast, you'll know that at the end of 2021, I wasn't doing particularly well from a mental health perspective. So I walked away from the software company that I had founded and started driving full time for a job, moving luxury vehicles and other cars around the UK. I did that for a couple of years. And at the beginning of last year, I felt that I was ready to kind of get back on the horse and kind of re-engage with the wider community beyond my sort of immediate family. And one of the things that I did was I recorded a personal video and sent it to 12 people who I used to get on really well with in the Infusionsoft partner community. And one of those people was Daniel Bussius. And he was one of, if not the first person to reply. And he was like, "My God, Peter, where have you been? I'm trying to get hold of you." Because in 2021, I just literally walked off the face of the earth. I deleted social media and everything. He said, "I tried to email you." Anyway, so we got back in touch. We had a couple of Zoom calls. And it was in that he said that he shared that he was wanting to relaunch his podcast and not kind of restart it, but like do a complete do-over. So he experimented with doing a podcast a few years ago. It kind of fizzled out, but he knew that he wanted to do it, and he also knew that he wanted to do it with a co-host. That was one of his learnings, if you like, from doing it the first time round. And he'd spoken to a few people, and a few people approached him, said that they wanted to do it, but it just didn't feel quite right. And he said there was just something in the way that that we had interacted and what I shared with him about my journey. Anyway, he offered me to be the co-host on his podcast. And we've had some amazing guests. I mean, one of the most recent ones that springs to mind is the Iron Cowboy. I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Netflix, I think it was. So James, the Iron Cowboy, he did 50 Ironman triathlons in 50 consecutive days in all 50 states of the US. And then a few years later, he did 100 Ironman triathlons on consecutive days. So yeah, bit of a machine. And yeah, that's the kind of people that we're chatting to on the Built by Love podcast. And the Rise community, or the Rise tribe, has come out of that. So yeah, I mean, this isn't a new thing for me in terms of doing intuitive action, but I think it is the first time where I'm being concerted and deliberate about it. And I think this daily podcast is the thing that will both keep me on track, help me keep my mind out of the way. In fact, just talking about the mind, a friend of mine shared this with me today. So since starting to work with Jason Leister, who I've mentioned a few times on this podcast, I've got into human design. And my really good friend Angela has been into I didn't realize had been into human design for a long time. And she shared something with me about, I had a session with her on my human design profile the other day, and she shared this website for me, with me this morning. And there was a saying, so I'm just in my Telegram, just having a look through. There we go. So the quote is, "The mind is the worst enemy of a 3-5. So a 3-5 is a particular profile line in human design. Its sabotaging overthinking interferes with the discovery and exploration processes, therefore stripping a third line person of the potential incredible life opportunities and directions." So that's it. This podcast is about me stopping my overthinking and encouraging my exploration process, my innate intuitive, don't even have to think about it, exploration process, which is where and how I thrive. So yeah, going to get back in touch with Dale, going to give that suggestion to Daniel. I've already invited a couple other people onto the Built by Love podcast on the back of thoughts that came to me yesterday. And I'm sure there was something else. If there is, I'll do it and tell you about it tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have an amazing day, because you're an amazing person and I love you. Bye.